Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Marcia Parker.
And we are here to do a review of the brand new Netflix release that just dropped about 2 days ago. It is one that is actually stirring up quite the controversy amongst critics and viewers and writers alike, because Stephen King himself just tweeted, "Ignore the mediocre reviews of this movie. This is a great movie. You need to watch it." Marcia is, I believe, of the Stephen King camp. I am more of the other people's camp.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting review. Guys, what we're talking about is the brand new Netflix release starring Sandra Bullock called Bird Box. So we'll do this review like we normally do our review, guys. We'll talk about our overall thoughts, then we'll talk about the story, the acting, the effects, everything in turn. But in case you couldn't tell by my opening statement there, I didn't not like this movie.
Okay.
But I didn't enjoy this movie as much as I think a lot of people are going to. I think, yes, it was a very well-made movie. Yes, it was a well-acted movie for the most part, not for the entirety. But for the most part, it was a well-acted movie. But overall, I was extraordinarily disappointed just because it does the thing that I rail against time and time and again, that I'm even thinking about making a straight-up separate video about, which I probably will, but I'll get into that as we go. So, since I was not a fan, that obviously means Marcia.
I am a fan.
Yes.
I'm a big fan. I liked it a lot.
Okay. But you're a mother.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that plays a part in your enjoyment of this film?
A little bit.
Only a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, like there were definitely moments where, you know, you really felt the anxiety and the need to mother. But, you know, I thought just the character stand alone, the character not a mother, and then the character as a mother, the way she evolves, it was done really beautifully. And just how she evolves in every relationship that she carries herself through. I thought it was very unique in the way where you have a character that is a female character that's super strong, super independent, and has to like deal with the fact that she has to love somebody with the and being okay with that person may not be forever. And I think that was the biggest message that I got from that character development was, you know, or from the story at all. It's like if you're gonna love somebody, you have to love them, knowing that they're maybe not be there one day, and then you throw in the apocalypse part of it, but overall, I really enjoyed all the acting. You had John Malcovich. I was so excited to see him. I love him. I love the way the two characters bonded together. The way, you know, Sarah Paulson was in it, and I always enjoy seeing her.
Very effective her part.
Oh man, she did a great job. So there were so many different elements, and after, you know, at first when Cecil said I wasn't a fan, I was like, really? And then I thought about it, and I totally understand why you're not a fan. But there's just so many different elements that I thought were more effective than A Quiet Place, whereas, like, you know, they were more the survivalist of them being able to survive in this kind of world makes more sense than A Quiet Place did. And she was a little bit more resourceful. I felt like she was more resourceful.
It did not. There was some contrivances that were impossible for me to overlook. Using GPS, come on.
And the sensors.
Come on. And the sensors. Come on.
Yeah.
No, okay. I'm going to ruin something if I say just how stupid that got, but...
Well, I guarantee, I do admit that part was kind of silly, but, I mean, you got to work with what you have.
Yeah.
And
they were doing their best.
Yeah.
If technology was just a little bit further and it was like a live feed of an actual shot...
But even that didn't matter.
No, if it had been a live feed, you could actually see what's around. Anyway, I don't want to ruin too much.
I don't want to ruin anything.
Fair enough.
You can't see. You're not supposed to look.
So
the story.
So the story, yes. The story is basically right off the top. You find out that that Sandra Bullock is pregnant, and she and her sister are talking about it and returning from a medical appointment, if I'm not mistaken.
They're going to go to one. And when everything hit the fan is when
they're leaving.
Yeah.
Okay, so because the doctor, right?
Yeah, it was her like OBGYN appointment. She's about to have the baby.
Exactly, and so they leave, and while they're leaving, actually while the first discussion they're having, they're talking about something that's going on overseas. There's some sort of breakout going on in Europe, Russia, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, at least it's over there. And so they're continuing on about their lives. And then while they're in the hospital, they actually, as they're walking to the appointment, they see this girl sort of sitting on a rail talking on the phone. And then as they're leaving the appointment, they see the girl smashing her face into a glass pane. And you're like, what the hell? And they don't, they're like, whatever. And then as they're leaving, they realize that more and more people are doing it. And what it is, it's a breakout of suicide, not unlike The Happening.
Right.
Which is sort of a detractor for me because it was very like The Happening. But essentially what is going on is people, if they see something, it's causing them to commit suicide. It's portrayed in a very interesting way because anyone that sees the creatures, essentially they're invisible creatures that people see, and it can take different forms to the people. Some people see dead loved ones, some people see this, some people see creatures, some people see that. But all of them, their eyes change and get like weird, not like clouded over, but spotted, like and they're moving and infected.
Like, infected.
A little bit like that. And then they attempt suicide, or they attempt to force other people to see as well. It's kind of the two ways that it goes. And so right away you're thrown into it, and in such a fashion that it's a very dramatic hit right up front, and you're like, damn, it's going to be that kind of movie.
Right. Very
and then
fast-paced.
It's not that kind of movie for the rest of the movie, in my opinion. So the rest of the movie slows way down.
Because it's kind of a bunker.
It's a bunker movie. You got it. You hit the nail on the head. It is a bunker movie, and anyone that has watched this channel for any extended period of time knows that I am not a bunker movie
And not
fan.
only is it not a bunker movie, I don't know if it's spoiler, but about the monster.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I said it, it's invisible monsters.
Right. So you don't get.
You never get to see the monster. Ever.
You do get to see it in a character's perspective kind of format.
Sure. Well, and they do show the shadows of something, but you never get to see what it is, and it's
like
never a real defined shadow.
Like it's weird. The air kind of gets still, but like things start to levitate.
Leaves levitate and stuff like that. It's a good thing the movie was shot in fall, because otherwise you wouldn't see shit for the creatures if it wasn't fall and all the leaves were on the ground.
And you're like, oh, the air feels different.
Although if it was, I'm actually picturing if it was in a suburban area and like it was just dog shit that would levitate as like.
I feel like paper, just trash, just like wind blowing in the wind, like American Beauty, just like.
So continuing on with the story, when this breakout happens, she ends up in the home of, I don't even think it's John Malcovich's home. He and his wife are attempting to they see her because she's pregnant and she's about to get trampled.
It's the Asian guy's home.
Right.
They were
the Asian guy, by the way, played by B.D. Wong of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World 1 and 2.
Yeah, there's so many cool people in this movie. I mean, it was just like a treat just to watch them all work together.
It was interesting. So basically they go into this residence, and if you stay in the residence, you don't have to be blindfolded because there's no creatures among them. But if you venture outside, you have to be blindfolded because if you see it, the creatures can get you. But another thing, another issue I had with it is they never clarified whether you could get got by something if you didn't look. Because they're always running, and she's even shooting at times. But they never establish whether you can get got by something without seeing it. So it's kind of a weird. The problem with that to me is that it muddied the waters a little bit. So the rules the rules were kind of defined, but not super defined.
Yeah, but I guess it's like this creature's coming after you. You don't know if it can get you, or
so you just run anyway.
You want to run, and then because there is the potential, it wants you to look, so you commit suicide, which is a really weird concept. It is, because so the creatures just want us to look, and the people that don't kill themselves are just tainted and become their minions. So then it's just cleansing the whole world of people who can't be controlled, which kind of makes sense. They want them to be worker bees, I guess.
Yeah.
And then kill the ones that
It's very strange. No, I mean the idea seems to be to destroy them all. I mean, and eventually once their worker bees are done with their job, they would dispose of them as well. But it's just when you can't see the things coming after you. Yes, I understand there's stakes. If you look at it, then you're going to kill yourself and possibly the people around you first. And that is, yes, ominous, but it's the same sort of thing where real-life serial killer scenarios don't scare me after having watched years of supernatural slashers and ghost movies. Creatures you can't see don't scare me as much as creatures you can. It is literally... to a T, it is the old argument where people say, what I don't see, what I see in my imagination is scarier than what anyone can show me. I have never been that way.
I'm that way. I think it's harder to defend yourself against something you can't see than it is something that you can see. And plus, like,
but it's so much scarier if you can see the threat and how horrifying and ominous and much bigger, and you can. Like, if you can't see it, there's always a hope of escape. If you can see how horrifying and big and indomitable it is, that to me is way scarier.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I can see it your way, but at the same time, like,
and
if
vice
you
versa.
can't, and if you can't see it and you can't, it's kind of like ghosts, you know, like poltergeists and things like that are coming after you. There's no real escape for you because you don't know where to run, you don't know where to go, and now you can't see. You have to be quiet. You have to hear where everybody is, and not only do you have to worry about the creatures, you have to worry about the people too, which is also scary because you're like, who are you going to let into your house? Who are you going to save? Who you're not going to save? You know, where does the humanity come into play? Are you a John Malcovich that doesn't want to mess with anybody and they can all die as long as you guys survive, or are you like Miss Polly Pocket, I don't remember her name, but like who just lets anybody in because she wants to help, you know, like.
But here's a fundamental problem that I had with this movie that I think some people might not see. Sorry, finish your point.
I was just gonna say it kind of goes back to the whole bunker and scary of how humans can just like screw other humans over, and how I felt like the people were scarier than the actual creature was in this movie.
And that's the case in a lot of zombie or a lot of zombie fiction now, because it's always, you know, yeah, the zombies are there, they're the backdrop, but it's the human drama that does it. That's always what people lean on for bunker movies, but here's a fundamental problem with the structure of the film that works against that. And that's the fact that the actual wraparound, like there's an A story and a B story. The A story is Sandra and two kids getting into a boat and going down a river. Yeah. And it cuts from that to a flashback of when it happened and her getting into this house and meeting all of these people and her being pregnant and another pregnant girl being in there. And you cut back and forth between that and those events and her and these two kids going down the river and encountering different things. And so you know that it's just a matter of time until these people go away, right, whether she leaves them or whether they die one at a time. There's no tension in that setup to me, because it's just a matter of waiting and ticking off the bodies until we see when she gets to that point that we started the movie with.
But
you know what I mean?
There was a moment in that movie that I actually didn't see it playing out the way it played out, and it was that big, and I'm not gonna give it away, but there was like a big turnaround that kind of depleted most of the people in the house.
Yeah, okay.
And I thought they did that very well. I thought they did it well.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, yeah.
It was done well, but it was still predictable.
It was a little predictable, but like you knew something was going to happen.
So it's in the execution.
But the execution was done well,
because
I was like, you know, how is it, like, because you know everybody, you know who's going to survive, right? Because you know the three that are going to be going down the river.
I did like how that played out Malkovich-wise, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and so they did have fun with how they got rid of the characters they got rid of, and how it all played out, and I really enjoyed. There were moments where I was just going, oh my god, what are they gonna do? Like, and
I just didn't have that. I was just like, okay, like, what are they gonna do?
I'm like okay,
there's two different tones.
I don't know, you know like I mean? I was in it, and I think a lot of it was the story, and just like I was connected to Sandra Bullock's character and just kind of what she was going through. I mean, I don't find myself like a completely separated parent that does like names her children boy and girl, but
Yeah, that was a bummer too. Like, that seems like to purposely detach yourself from even your own child. To me, it would have made sense if she had named him and left the girl as girl.
Yeah.
But
it stayed true to her character, because her character was like that from day one. I'm just saying, like, I liked watching her character evolve, and the way the story happened, and the different character development between all of the characters, and how they come together and how they fall apart. And but you have some valid points there. I mean, when it comes to the creatures, it wasn't that strong. It wasn't like I wasn't feeling threatened by the creatures, but there were moments where I was like, "Oh my god, what's gonna happen?"
Well, here's the thing.
But that was like the end.
I understand reading a book. You can really develop a picture of what a creature might look like as you're reading at your own pace. When you're watching a movie like Bird Box,
you want to see it.
I'm not saying, but for the people that even don't mind, that prefer to conjure the image in their mind, you don't have enough time to conjure, like, oh, what would be really scary here if it was there, because it's just invisible, and you have to watch how she's reacting to this invisible thing. So you're dividing your attention between doing that and maybe trying to conjure something in your head. Yeah. So you never actually get to see anything. No kind of threat at all. Yeah,
there was some illusion of what one person imagined the creature to be, but because there were so many different, like, variations where that one lady's like, oh, it's my mother, oh, this is that, and like, oh, and
you hear other things as things go,
right? And you see
Sandra obviously so something else,
and well, she didn't see anything,
but apparently that's the thing. It can interact with you audibly too, and that never got touched on until the third act, right? So it's kind of weird.
It can take on different personas,
like, because you'd think it would have drawn people out of the home using that a little earlier in the movie.
I think it tried to.
I don't think it did. I think it would have been successful, or at least it would have been a nice added beat. But the movie was already 2 hours and 5 minutes. Yeah. So, I mean, it took so much time to do what it was doing, and it just wasn't so unique, in my opinion.
I wouldn't say it was, like, super unique, but I thought it was altogether really well done.
That's fair.
And I thought the acting was
the execution was great.
I did enjoy the story. I see what you're saying about the creature and the horror aspect. It wasn't super. I think I was more on edge because of the mother aspect.
Even Netflix lists it as a drama.
Yeah, it was definitely more drama than horror. I think just the fact that it's apocalyptic, and there are some gory moments in there. Yeah. Like straight up in the beginning. And I think if they would have carried a little bit more and kept it less bunker, I think you would have enjoyed it.
I agree. But that's why I liked A Quiet Place much more. Like, I would put A Quiet Place at like a 9 out of 10, and I would put this at probably like a 5 for me.
Because even though it was kind of a bunker, but not really, because they were more out doing things.
In A Quiet Place?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's 100% what I would say. Because they weren't limited to the home.
Right.
They took time out of it and stuff like that. So, so I think it actually makes for a really good review, you guys. So you can see two sides of the coin here, and extrapolate based on that whether you think you would enjoy this one or not. I think that's good job, Marcia.
Yeah,
I think good review.
I think that you should watch it. It's free on Netflix if you have Netflix.
Yeah, and it just dropped 3 days ago as of reviewing this.
Take the time to watch
it
and make your own decision.
You guys will probably be watching this around Thursday or Friday. So it'll have been out for about a week by the time you guys get this
watch it. It's on your list, and we just say watch it and make your own assumptions.
Definitely. Well, and if you have seen it, let us know in the comments down below. Are you I want to see it, or are you an I don't want to see it kind of person?
If you wouldn't have said something, I might not have watched it because I'm like, what, Bird Box? What? And I'm like, oh, I like Sandra Bullock. So then I was like,
she's
I'll watch
tremendous.
It. I love her.
We didn't talk about really the acting that in depth, so just real quick, Sandra was great.
John
Malcovich was great.
Awesome.
Actually, I liked the black guy was great.
He was great.
The kids actually I thought were very good too.
Yeah.
And as much as I didn't like the character, I thought the other pregnant woman was great too.
Yeah.
I hated her character, but I don't think she was going for it. She's the kind of person that like, oh, you frustrate me. Like that kind of person in real life frustrates me.
And she was kind of like, at the end of the day, she was kind of sweet and knew that she was kind of a burden. And
the way the story plays out is interesting, especially when you see like a little stuffy toy that is meant for someone, and you see it later, and then Sandra has to make this decision at one point, and you're like, damn, is she gonna decide based on like just that? And you're like, So they do play up it is very drama, and they do play it up, and it does make for an engrossing feature.
Yeah.
But it's not a scary movie, and it's nowhere near on the level of A Quiet Place, in my opinion. Where would you put it versus A Quiet Place?
I think I liked it more than A Quiet Place.
Really?
I do. I think
that much of a difference in
I
our
think
personality
because I just
things. Wow.
I enjoyed all of the characters, and where A Quiet Place, like the
we
daughter,
have more to choose from. In
there
this
is
one,
more
for sure.
to choose from, but like the children in The Quiet Place, I was annoyed with all of their decisions.
Really?
Especially the deaf girl. Like it
Okay.
just her decision making just really annoyed me.
Okay.
All the way through.
Okay, because she was being a teenage girl and not obeying.
Well, I mean, she gives her youngest brother like a toy.
All right.
She's done. Anyway, I did enjoy the movie though, but
Okay.
I felt like with this one, I felt less aggravated and agitated about the situation. I felt like I could just enjoy the story being revealed, and there were times where I was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? But it wasn't in a like annoyed kind of way. It was like, oh, this is really engaging.
Okay.
So.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's a great place to end this. A very balanced review here. So why don't you guys let us know in the comments down below. If you watched Bird Box, what was your opinion? If you haven't watched it yet, does this sway you one way or another? Let us know while you're down there. Go ahead and click the subscribe button if you haven't yet, and like the video if you enjoyed what you saw here.
Ring the bell.
Ring that notification bell as well. Thank you, Marcia. But until next time, guys, I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Marcia Parker.
And remember, stay scared.